Broken Eggs Media.
This week's episode of Cashfly is brought to you by The Movie Guys.
Podcast.
Stop hosting.
Start delivering.
Welcome, friends and family, to The Movie Guys podcast.
We're the movie guys.
I'm Scott,
I'm Matt.
and this is our show.
Yes, it is. Welcome back. Episode 57.
Yes, we are back from Comic-Con. We sure hope you enjoyed last week's episode. We sure enjoyed last week's
We
episode.
did. We had a lot of fun. We survived it.
Yes.
We went, we saw, we conquered,
yes.
we shot, we edited,
It
we
was quite the conquest.
delivered. So it was.
Yes. This week we have 3 movies to review. We actually have a review of Mutant Chronicles,
Yes, which isn't actually out in theaters yet.
Yes.
But was offered available through Xbox Live. You can watch it in regular definition or in high definition, different prices, whatever, to, like as a sneak peek, sneak preview kind of a thing, which is really, really cool.
That's very cool. I think it comes out limited release on here in a couple
in a
weeks.
week or two, yeah.
So we have an early review for you, or you can also check it out on Xbox Live as well.
It's kind of a good thing, if you end up liking what we have to say or think you might want to see the film, you can, instead of spending the money and being like, I hope this is good, you can watch our review and then know what you want to do
Exactly.
on your Xbox. We know you're all Xbox owners.
Yes. We also have Dragon Ball Evolution, the Dragon Ball Z movie, along with Observe and Report, the new Seth Rogen comedy.
Yeah.
So,
Should we review some stuff?
yes, without further delay, here's our review of The Mutant Chronicles.
Oh. The Mutant Chronicles, starring Tom Jane, Ron Perlman, John Malkovich, about an evil that has come to Earth and destroyed us in the past and gets re-released during a war, and a group of soldiers who are sent to try and destroy it before it destroys the Earth. Scott, before we saw The Mutant Chronicles, what were your thoughts?
Before I saw this movie, I was intrigued by the premise. I liked Tom Jane, John Malkovich, Ron Perlman, fans of all of them. It had an interesting look to it, so I was interested to see it.
When I first started seeing some of the press stuff for this, I thought it looked kind of cool. I liked the cast involved, and I like sci-fi, and it looked kind of interesting, and the graphics looked kind of cool, like a different kind of grainy look to them. So I was kind of excited for this.
Mutant Chronicles. We've been wanting to review this on the show for a couple of weeks and needed to find the opportune time. So I watched this actually a couple weeks back.
When it first came available
Yes.
through Xbox Live?
Indeed. And I don't remember very much about it.
Really?
To be quite honest, which I think says something about the film. But I did write down my thoughts of what I thought about it after I did it. So I referenced those and kind of got an idea of what
Kind of got back into the...
Yeah, kind of got back into what I thought about it. This movie, I'm going to start it by just saying that the special effects are very subpar for what we've been used to, at least for the last few years. And, special effects don't make a movie, and that's fine. So, if it doesn't have great special effects, it can still be a good movie. Unfortunately for me, it also wasn't a good movie.
I have to completely, in some regards, disagree with you specifically towards this film. Because, and I could be completely wrong, I don't know this, I don't know the filmmakers or whatever, but the director that did this is his directorial debut. And I felt like, watching it, that the style being used and the kind of effects being used were done on purpose. Like maybe they didn't have a lot of money coming to the film, and they were like, man, should we cut things back, dial it back, and do what we can afford? Or should we do what we want to do and just kind of make it look a certain way and like kind of hide the budget in this different look? And I actually kind of dug that about it. Like, right off the bat, you're kind of given this scene, and you're introduced to the way this movie's going to look, the way the effects are going to be done, and they're consistent all the way through. And it's definitely low budget, it's obvious. But it's kind of like they just went with it. They were like, you know what, we can't afford it. We're not going to try and hide that. We're going to just do this and go with a lot of blue screen stuff and, this kind of look to the film. And since they introduced it right away and it was consistent throughout the whole film, I kind of appreciated it as like a different look for it.
I thought that there were parts of it that looked... I thought there were different looks to it. I think
Really?
you say it was one look. I would disagree. There were some really good, like, sort of coloration effects, like a Sin City almost, sort of a
300
Tim
almost.
Burton sort of, make everything look the similar color, kind of draw everything out.
Kind of monochromatic.
Exactly. And I thought that looked good. But like some of the violence effects, some of the creature effects, some of the blood.
I love the blood.
Particularly the blood. It was just like,
it.
I'm going to shoot
kinda
you.
cartoony.
And then like this bright red blood would come out of you. And it didn't like stream like liquid. It was like
splattered.
It was like blobs of blood.
I liked it.
I just thought it looked really stupid, honestly. I just thought it totally dropped.
So it's
took me out of
definitely a stylistic film.
I don't think that, like I said, I
as
don't
a-
know if that was meant for style. I didn't
You don't
think it
think so?
was. I think it was kind of a, I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking, really.
Interesting. What about the story? Did you like the concept?
No, and that's what I also wanted to mention with the special effects. You know, we'll see movies all the time that have a lot of special effects in them,
Right.
and you're like, well, the story sucked, but at least the special effects were good.
Monsters vs. Aliens.
Or, well, we'll get into that later. But Chun-Li, for example, like
Right.
some of the special effects were all right, but it was just retarded.
Horrible film. Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't like the story.
This one, like the dialogue was really, really bad.
Really?
You know, I just thought it was way over the top. It was just kind of ridiculous. A lot of people just said a lot of little one-liners that they thought were cool, and they didn't really like any of the characters. I thought it was an interesting premise, but they really did absolutely nothing with it.
I'm completely on the other side of it. I thought that the writing was really sharp because they seemed to keep it to simplistic terms. These are all soldiers. They're simple people in the sense that they kind of have. They're all different kinds of soldiers that are in the main, plot or whatever story arc. So they all kind of have a similar mentality, even though they're all different kinds of people. And the approach with the script was like that. I liked Ron Perlman playing this priest or this order. You know, he's kind of the backbone to the premise, which was kind of cool. I liked all of it because it was very simple, and they didn't try and waste time in over-developing things that where you would look at it and be like, why are they spending so much time with this? It's boring. There was action interspersed throughout. The characters were, I don't want to call them cliche or like boxed characters, but in a lot of ways they were.
Yeah, they were just
But
sort
not-
of caricatures.
Right, and I didn't feel that was bad. I thought that it worked well for it because they didn't waste a lot of time doing anything boring. It kind of just moved right along. You understood who these people were, what they were going to do. They never seemed to do anything out of their character box, which worked for them. The story was interesting, and it's actually a rather dark kind of film. It's a rather dark, almost depressing kind of movie. But I really liked that about it. I thought this was kind of a fresh sci-fi film when I'm so used to seeing a lot of big budget Hollywood overly done. You know what I mean? I liked the melodramatics of it. I thought that it worked really well for everything. I thought there was a lot of fun with this film.
I think I agree with you in the sense that of how you thought things were laid out with a lot of action through. The thing is with the special effects, for me at least, the action wasn't enjoyable. Whereas you enjoyed it more. You thought
Right.
you liked the
I
style
kind of
of
liked
it.
the style of it.
So I mean, maybe you should be the judge for yourself. What are you
Take a
going to
look
give
at
this one, Matt?
I'm actually going to give the Mutant Chronicles a 7. I thought it was really interesting, and I think it deserves multiple viewings. Like, it's, for me, fun enough and interesting enough to watch it a few more times.
I'm actually not going to recommend this movie. I give it a 3. It's fairly long as well, and I didn't find much to enjoy out of it. But you don't have to go to the theater and buy a bunch of popcorn and everything, and you don't have to buy this when it comes out. You can rent it now on Xbox Live, so maybe that's a good choice for you.
Maybe the way to go. Okay, moving on to Dragon Ball Evolution. Dragon Ball Evolution, starring Justin Chatwin, Emmy Rossum, Chow Yun-fat, based off of the popular Japanese manga Dragon Ball Z. Scott, before we saw Dragon Ball Evolution, what were your thoughts?
I have almost zero exposure to Dragon Ball Z. I have a lot of friends that are really into it. When I saw the trailer, the special effects looked pretty good. It looked kind of crazy, over the top. It's Japanese, from Japanese comics and anime, so it's kind of like out there, and that's cool. And I like it if it's done well, but I thought that Chun-Li looked good too. So I was hopeful that this was going to be an entertaining flick.
I'm only marginally familiar with the Dragon Ball series. I haven't read any of the manga, but I've seen some of the cartoons here and there, played some of the video games. I understand kind of the concepts behind it, but I'm not really overly familiar with the characters. But the trailer, I was kind of hoping it'd be cool, but the trailers all look really, Chun-Li comes to mind. It doesn't look like a very good film at all, so I'm not really excited.
Dragon Ball Evolution, Dragon Ball Z. I think there's a difference.
I believe it's Dragon Ball, and then later it becomes Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
I think. I'm sorry, fans. If I'm
That just goes to show how little we actually know about
Don't
this.
know much about it.
What can you say about this movie? There are a lot of really hot chicks in it. I found.
Yeah.
Some really hot
I expected
chicks in it.
Emmy Rossum to be the eye candy for me, but the Asian girl that played Chi-Chi,
Yeah.
hotter. She's hot.
Doesn't Chi-Chi mean something in Spanish?
Spanish?
Yeah.
Let's not go there.
It does,
it does.
doesn't it? And
Probably.
I think that fits her very well in this movie. She was very talented. The action in the movie was kind of hit and miss. I didn't like most of the action scenes, unfortunately. There's one where like a bunch of guys surround him, and then he like vows not to fight, and so he makes it so that every time they miss him, that they punch one of their friends. And it was actually a pretty well choreographed, kind of funny fight, and I enjoyed it. A lot of the other fight scenes were zoomed in too close
Or
and
too dark.
Yeah, or they're
one
too
case.
dark and they're doing a lot of flips, and it just kind of showed that they didn't have like a great maybe budget. You know, they couldn't really pull off the special effects like they wanted to, and that's fine.
Perhaps,
but they didn't make it that great. I don't know how the characters look compared to the.
Well, the characters in the cartoon anime anyway are, I believe, Gohan's like really little, and I think
Goku,
bald.
right?
No, Gohan, his grandfather.
Oh, okay.
And you know, Master Roshi, they're all like little people, if I recall. Like they're really small, if I recall, and they're bald usually. I mean, you know, that's not necessarily important. I thought that they all, from the few episodes of the cartoon that I've seen, this film seemed to kind of have that kind of tongue-in-cheek humor, cheesy without being like really ridiculous, and then like the serious without being over melodramatic. And it seemed to have that in this film, and I kind of appreciated that. I have to agree with you on the fight sequences. Some were cool, some weren't. I thought that, without ruining anything for most people, obviously, that pretty much know what's going to go down in this film, but the stuff with the energy, the big fight scene, especially like the climactic one, I thought was pretty cool and seemed a lot like what I would expect from a live action version of a Dragon Ball fight sequence.
Right. Here's the thing with me. I would relate this to, you know, when people start, you know, wielding their life force. Like, I don't really have any connection with that. I don't know how to wield my life force, for example. But if I watch something like Harry Potter, and it's probably might be because I've read the books, but when they do their wand thing and something comes out of the wand, I kind of have an idea of what they're doing or how they do it. And maybe it's because of the descriptions of the book, like how they study it and things like that. You know, or, you know, things like when Harry has to call upon his Patronus, and like he has to think about like his past and like get these sorts of things and kind of get it out of himself. I would imagine the life force is something like that, but watching it just for the first time, and you know, they have different colors and stuff, and it's just like, I don't really understand it. I don't get much out of it.
Well, like you said, we don't really know much about the backstory.
Right, but for me, for a first-time viewer, I think that might be a problem.
I felt like, once again, I have to reiterate that not knowing much about the source material, I felt like they crammed a lot of story into the film, because the film's only 86 minutes long, and it moved along at a pretty good clip. I never got bored, really. But I feel like they crammed a lot of stuff into it. But at the same time, I felt like that worked out well for it. Like, I felt like I was being brought up to speed really quickly on this world. And now I could maybe watch the cartoon or read some of the manga and like not feel completely out of my depth.
Yeah. I feel that this is very... We've seen this 100 times before.
Right, it's the prophecy and the chosen one.
You know, this young guy who must vow not to fight, and now the prophecy is coming true, and it is time for him to show his worth, and he gets a gang of hooligans around him to go and collect these certain things. It's like every Final Fantasy game.
Kind of.
You know what I mean?
Although I do like, I don't want to say this on the show because we don't do spoilers. We don't do spoilers, but at the same time, a lot of people should know this already. There's the element with who Goku is, you know what I'm talking about, that I didn't know going in, that I think is an interesting element. And ultimately, having very low expectation for this film, I kind of rather enjoyed it overall. Like, you know, not giving it too much credit, not taking too much away from it. I kind of enjoyed it as a first-time viewer of something Dragon Ball and live action and all that, and kind of hope they make some more of them.
Yeah, I kind of had some fun. I had a couple laughs.
Surprisingly.
You know,
Justin Chatwin did a good job. Yeah. I like Justin Chatwin. I thought he pulled off the... Like I said, the kind of half cheesy, half serious kind of role.
He kind of had like the Peter Parker role.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I kind of dug.
I thought it worked fairly well. Way more than I expected, to be honest.
Okay, so what are you going to give this one, Matt?
I'm going to give Dragon Ball Evolution a 6.5, which is a really high score from what I expected to give this film, viewing the trailers. If you're a Dragon Ball fan, please hit the forums after you see this, because I'm curious as to what fans of Dragon Ball think of the film.
Yeah, I'm actually very interested. I mean, I have some friends that are like, yeah, I've watched all 600 episodes 3 times.
Yeah.
And it's like, really? And it makes me interested. Is this like that? Because if it is, then I need to find new friends. But no. I didn't like this as much as Matt. I'm going to give this a 4. I think that it's not tedious. It's not horrible. It's just... It's an experience I've had 100 times, oftentimes better than this. And while the hot chicks were fun to look at, the action scenes weren't that great. There's just not a whole lot to take away from it for me.
One little thing I do want to mention is James Marsters I thought was really awesome as Piccolo. Though I don't know much about Piccolo, I thought that James Marsters' villain was really cool and scary, and I want to see more of him being like all badass.
Yeah. Did I say what my score was? Okay. Good. Then I don't have to repeat it. I will say that there's a little something towards the end of the credits that I'm sure a lot of Dragon Ball fans will like, and if you see the movie, you owe it to see the end.
Might as well sit around for the
yeah.
Might as well sit around for this. Okay, so let's jump over to the comedy this week. Observe and Report. Observe and Report, the new comedy starring Seth Rogen and Anna Faris about a mall security cop who has kind of delusions of grandeur and wants to be more than what he probably really is. Scott, before we saw Observe and Report, what were your thoughts?
I generally like Seth Rogen. I think he's a funny and smart guy. I usually like a lot of his comedies. The trailer for this had some ups and downs, things that look kind of funny, things that look kind of dead. This is kind of like an indie flick for Seth Rogen. It's not, a hotly anticipated Kevin Smith film. It's not an Apatow film. It's not a DreamWorks animated film, So I was looking forward to seeing a little bit lower budget Seth Rogen.
I like Seth Rogen, but I kind of feel like he's doing the same things over and over again, kind of a thing, and I want to see him do something different. And, Paul Blart Mall Cop just came out recently. Even though these have nothing to do with each other, it's a kind of similar premise. And obviously this is going to be funnier than that, just for the fact that Seth Rogen's a part of it. But, I don't expect it to be genius comedy, but I expect it to be at least kind of funny.
This isn't what I thought it was going to be. It's just a straightforward comedy. It's definitely more of a dark comedy, I would say. It's unlike anything Seth Rogen's done, I feel. And I appreciate it. You know what I mean?
To some extent.
Yeah. It's certainly funny. And it's not like a really smart funny. It's a lot of swearing, and it's a lot of obvious, stereotypical racist jokes or anything.
Vulgar humor.
And those are fine. But I think it went somewhere else with it, too.
It did. It really did.
It's really kind of a roller coaster ride. The first part of it's really funny, and then it just gets depressing. And there's
this tragic.
Yeah, there's this one time in the movie where two people are playing a joke on Seth Rogen's character, and one of them's like, "Oh, this is going to be really funny," and they start playing the joke, and the guy's like, "I thought this was going to be funny. This is actually kind of sad. I'll see you later."
Yeah,
and that really encapsulates the movie. It's funny, and then you just realize, wait, this sucks. This is so unfortunate and depressing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
After seeing it, I, in my mind, really compare it to Napoleon Dynamite, where you have this character who is somebody that maybe you've seen this guy before. He's he's a mall security guy, he's a rent-a-cop.
Right.
There's always that stigma surrounding those people. That's kind of like a character you've seen before in a lot of other films. They've been portrayed.
Like this false sense of
awesomeness and
this false sense of power.
Yeah.
And importance.
And in Napoleon Dynamite, for me, it was you have funny and you have the tragic part of it. You know what I mean? And I felt with Napoleon Dynamite, it really just did this kind of the whole time through the whole film. It gave you a lot of funny, gave you a little bit of the tragic, and kind of stayed right in here the whole film. And for me, that's what made that film so awesome. This film, for me, I felt like there's the funny and there's the tragic, and it tried to go way up here at the beginning, and it succeeded. But then it dropped way down here into this tragic area for kind of a long time, and then kind of slowly tried to bring you back to the funny. And for me, I appreciate what they did, because very few films, especially comedies, do that. But it didn't, in my mind, work on a level where I would want to watch this again.
I definitely wouldn't watch this again. And the thing about Napoleon Dynamite is I think it's absolutely hilarious, hysterically funny all the way through. And this is never really that funny.
Not quite as that funny. Yeah,
it is funny.
It is pretty funny.
I really like what they did with the character, because it's not somebody that you would like at all.
Not really at all.
I know this guy.
Right.
He's just a total D-bag, and I wouldn't wish anybody to know him.
It did give you a little bit of insight on, made you feel a little bit of pity for him for a little while, I thought.
He has a moral compass. It just doesn't point anywhere near north.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's really confused. He's like, dude, I'm just going to shoot people. He's kind of like a mix between Cousin Eddie from the National Lampoon's Vacation and Rorschach. You know what I mean?
That's pretty accurate, yeah.
He's just kind of retarded.
A little bit.
Is he kind of has this like sense of honor. He doesn't know really what honor is, but he kind of can tell what's right and wrong.
In his mind.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
If somebody's
code of ethics is
skateboarding where there's a sign that says no skateboarding,
They're criminals.
They're criminals. They deserve to be punished.
Extensively.
Right, exactly. If somebody is taking something that's not theirs, that is wrong. You know what I mean? And of course, it's right to hit kids with their skateboards, but it's wrong to take something from somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a very simplistic honor system.
Yeah. His ethics are a little skewed.
Yeah, and there are definitely a time where, like, dude, this, like the joke that they play in the movie, like, this isn't funny. This is just sad. That is definitely the feeling that I got. It's like the feel-good movie of the year, and it is the make you feel like crap movie.
Tragic film of the year.
And I thought the ending paid off in a huge way. I laughed so hard. I clapped whether what he did was right or wrong.
It really, honestly, it was getting to the climax, and I was thinking, God, this is really, for me, ending on this really kind of down.
Yeah.
Like, it dropped me. I was having fun. It was funny, and then it got really tragic and sad. And it kind of started to try to come back up, and I felt like that's how it was going to end. And then it ends on this really hardcore, ridiculous, funny note, and I was just like, that was really well done. It's just tragic for me because, like I said, it's not something that I'm going to want to repeat view, even though it was done in a kind of new and different way than you're used to, and done really, really well. I still don't think I would want to watch this very often.
Yeah, I just think that the start is him, he has this false sense of importance.
Yeah.
And then he realizes that he's just kind of a nothing.
Right.
And then in the end, he realizes that he's not the coolest badass ever.
He's not nothing.
But he's not nothing.
Right.
You know, he finds his place in the world, and he finds his own sense of happiness. You know what I mean? Which is a feel-good movie in the end. But it takes you kind of on this roller coaster of, you know, what this person's life is like.
Right.
So I highly recommend this movie.
What are you going to give it?
I'm actually going to give this movie a 7.5.
Wow.
I wish it was a little bit funnier. But
like all the way through.
Yeah.
I mean, if it maintained the amount of funny that it had just all the way through, I probably would have been happier.
Yeah. The jokes in the trailer are about the level of jokes in the movie.
There's just more of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the final scene is absolutely hysterical.
Awesome. I'm going to give this, I didn't like it quite as much as Scott. I'm going to give it a 6.5, although I do appreciate what it did, and I think it's definitely worth seeing one time. It's probably not something you're going to repeat view. It's not, there's some good lines and stuff, but, you know, you'll remember them and you'll spout them off to your friends and it'll be funny, but you're not going to, you know, sit at home on Friday nights and like have little parties watching this movie. It's not that kind of film.
You know, there are a lot of really kind of cool one-liners when he's like, when King Arthur kills Merlin.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Danny McBride's in this one. He has a cool little short part, that kind of stuff. But
yeah, some really cool stuff.
Check it out. But
some fairly decent action.
Some fairly decent action, yeah.
Whether it's unbelievable or not.
Right.
It was still entertaining and fairly well done. There's something
we haven't done lately, we're going to do right now, and let's talk about a few trailers. So, a couple of trailers. We're going to talk about two, show you a little bit of them. The first one we want to have you check out is the new Sam Rockwell film. I believe it opens limited next month. It's called Moon. Check this out.
Sam Bell reporting to Central. Everything running smoothly. Over and out. Rock and roll. God bless America.
Good morning, Sam. Do you want me to cut your hair?
Lunar Industries remains the #1 provider of clean energy worldwide due to the hard work of people like you.
That they can ask me
3 years is a long haul, you know.
I know you're really lonely up there, but I'm proud of you.
2 weeks to go, Sam.
2 weeks to go, buddy. I'm going home. Looks like we got a live one. I'm gonna go out.
Okay, Sam.
Leaving Serang, working perimeter.
Come outside. Who is he? You tell me who that is!
Perhaps you're imagining things. What's going on?
Where did he come from? Why does he look like me?
You've been up here too long, man. You lost your marbles.
2 weeks.
I don't understand what's happening. This is my mind.
I want to go home.
I know.
Are you a Sam Rockwell fan?
I will see anything Sam Rockwell is in.
I like him.
I
He's
think
good.
he's incredibly talented.
This looks like a
Very
really
fun,
awesome role for him.
It does. It's really one of those kind of thought-provoking sci-fi, looking films.
Which is some of my favorite things, is these kind of films.
right. I'm very excited for this one. I hope that it gets at least a wide enough release that it comes
Near us.
soon,
it.
before it hits
Yeah.
DVD or something.
And then this is really quickly, we cut some of this out. There's a lot of text and stuff in it that we just didn't
Yeah.
need to be in there. So this is a quickly rehashed edit of the new Mike Judge film trailer, Extract.
You see that? They're not going to do their jobs. I'm not going to do mine. I'm just going to sit here.
Oh, no. He definitely lost one of them, and they think that they can reattach the other one, but they're not sure.
Wow. That's hardcore.
How fragile we all are. We're just hanging there. Do you want to go to the bedroom?
I'm a little tired.
Sexual frustration is really hard. If I don't get home before 8, she puts on the sweatpants. And once the sweatpants are on, I get nothing.
Hi.
Joel, let me introduce you to the new temps. This is Cindy.
Hey.
Hi.
And, I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
Damn. She work here?
Yes, the temp.
She's a tramp?
Temp.
Stress is a killer.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? What is he doing? We can't do our job if they don't do our job.
Extract.
I get paranoid when I smoke.
Not if you smoke a little.
Are you a Mike Judge fan?
I am.
Do you like Office Space and Idiocracy? And Beavis and Butthead? And King of the Hill?
Now that you say it, I'm a marginal Mike Judge fan.
Yeah, kind of half and half.
Yeah.
I like the guy. I think he's got an interesting sense of humor, and I like what he has to say socially most of the time too. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this. It's got Jason Bateman and Ben Affleck with long hair, which is cool.
Yeah, this trailer really
J.K. Simmons, music
does it
to
for
this.
me. I think it looks really funny, so I hope that comes out sooner rather than later. I don't
Yes.
really know what else
Looking
to
forward
say.
to it. It should be good. Hopefully it'll get like a wide enough release for everybody to see it, unlike Idiocracy, which found its following on DVD. So hopefully
Right.
Extract will come out and be like, kind
Or
of
Office Space, which found its
Yeah.
audience like 5 years later.
Yeah, exactly. People seem to like his stuff, but only after their friends tell them about it.
Maybe it's before its time.
Possibly.
Maybe it's just that good.
Maybe it's just that good. I know something that is that good, and that's the Movie Girls.
Yes, and their plethora of DVD release knowledge, which they're going to give to you now.
DVDs.
Hey, we are the Movie Girls. I'm Savannah.
And I'm Amber.
And these are DVDs for Tuesday, April 14th, 2009. First, we've got Dark Matter, starring Meryl Streep and Aidan Quinn.
Now, this is based on actual events. It's about a Chinese university student who is denied a Nobel Prize because of politics and his kind of almost violent reaction.
We also have Splinter.
This is a story about a couple who gets carjacked, and then they and the carjacker are trapped in a gas station by a sort of creature. So it's definitely a sort of suspenseful, thriller-esque movie. Maybe some Netflixing there.
I think it sounds good. We have The Caller with Frank Langella and Elliot Gould.
This is a vice president of a corporation, plans his own assassination, and kind of hires a detective to help him find out what's going on with the company that he worked for.
The Reader is out with Kate Winslet, David Cross, and Ralph Fiennes.
Now, this is kind of a romance, and it's sort of a takes place after World War II, but sort of highlights the events during that time. Kate Winslet won Best Actress, and it was nominated for an award. So it's definitely something to take a look at if you like those.
Go see what all the fuss is
World
about.
War II movies.
And last on the list, we have The Spirit. Now, this is directed by Frank Miller, and it is adapted from a Will Eisner comic. Kind of has a
Sin City look
visual,
to it.
yeah.
Visually. But it's a little bit cheesier, campier, superhero type of movie.
A little more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Not so gory.
It's got Samuel L. Jackson right there, Gabrielle Mocht, Eva Mendes, and Scarlett Johansson. So it's definitely a femme fatale kind of movie, but definitely enjoyable.
And that's all. Just 5 this week.
So,
we're done.
Yeah,
a few good ones in there. So let's hand it over to the guys for news
and rumors.
Something else we haven't done kind of for a while, a couple of posters. Real quickly, we showed you the Moon trailer. Here's the new poster for it. I kind of like it. It's kind of retro almost looking and kind of cool.
Kind of has a weird look when you look at the circles. And, one of those things.
Yeah, and then here's the new
Very
poster
simple.
for Where the Wild Things Are. Once again, more great media, I think, for this film.
Yeah, it's one of those, the 2 posters that they have out for this film, if the film is really, really good, these both look like posters that you might want to have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
In
Like
your
really,
collection.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Artistic posters, which, are too few and far between.
I agree. So how about the news here in about a minute? Disney is reportedly dumping $300 million into the sequel to Tron,
Which would tie Pirates 3 as the biggest budget film ever made. And speaking of pirates,
Gore Verbinski,
the director of all the Pirates films,
has stated that he will not return to work on the 4th Pirates movie.
Last week it was Gemma Arterton, and now
Ralph Fiennes will be playing Hades in the Clash of the Titans remake.
next to Liam Neeson, who will be playing Zeus. Rob Zombie is leaving all previous installments behind
and going his own direction with Halloween 2.
saying that not only will the story not follow the originals anymore,
But that Michael Myers will not don a mask for the first 3/4 of the film.
and when he finally does,
it will look nothing like the white William Shatner face we have all come to know and fear.
has 4 negatives. Al Pacino is set to star in Betsy and the Emperor
As Napoleon Bonaparte.
during his exile after losing the battle at Waterloo.
Cuba Gooding Jr. isn't dead, as we all might have thought,
But he will be in the George Lucas-produced World War II film called
Red Tails.
about the first African-American military pilots.
And Brittany Murphy is now expendable.
She joins Stallone's already awesome cast. Well, that was the news Matt hopes.
You learned something that you did not know.
All right. So what did you think about the news, Matt?
Real quick, Gore Verbinski not doing a 4th Pirates film. That sucks because Gore Verbinski brought something that made them all good, I think. But at the same time, at this point, I'm ready for them to stop making Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Yeah, I really
Don't
enjoy
beat a dead horse.
The first 3.
I liked all 3 of them.
Memorable characters, funny stuff.
Yeah.
I hope that they don't ruin it. Maybe the fact that Gore Verbinski's not going to get on, they might not do it.
Maybe not.
You know what I mean?
But it's a cash cow. I mean,
yeah.
it was a highly budgeted film, but they made some good money off it, so they'll probably just
most
do it
definitely.
anyway.
Yeah.
The other thing that was interesting was the whole Halloween thing.
Yeah, I think they're all of the masked killer movies are so alike that just make a different one so you don't offend the
Make a
people that
different
like
character.
Halloween. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally changing the franchise. I mean, it could end up being, awesome.
Oh, yeah,
You know
it
what I
might.
mean? But
why not make an awesome movie
That's
with
not
a,
Michael Myers.
Yeah, that's a different psycho on a mask. You know
I
what I mean?
realistically, we've had these core ones, Nightmare on Elm Street, the Friday the 13th movies, Halloween, have been around for so long.
Yeah.
Why don't you just make like Scream did? They introduced a new masked killer, and they made a trilogy out of it, and it's a cool trilogy. I think why wouldn't we just make a new,
Yeah,
create a new one for a new generation?
I really don't care. I'm not like that,
I mean, I'm not
you're not
clamoring.
going to destroy Michael Myers, are you?
Right.
You know
I'm
what
not
I mean?
clamoring for it, but at the same time, I'd be like, ooh,
Yeah.
this could be cool. You know what I mean? Now
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, what are they doing?
Yeah, now they're just banking on the name, which is unfortunate.
Which is unfortunate. Other than that, I guess that's pretty much it news-wise.
Yeah.
Something that ties into the news and into our show at this particular moment has to do with Twitters.
Yes.
You should follow our Twitters. They are, right there.
Right there,
Yes.
twitter.com/JamesUgly.
We have a
Cool
couple.
stuff. I got a few cool people
New
on
Twitters?
Twitter from Comic-Con.
Did you? Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Pretty cool stuff.
Thank you, people at Comic-Con. We had a good time last week. Man, that was so
Yeah,
much fun. Thank
so
you,
much
everybody that was at Comic-Con. If we haven't thanked you yet, thank you. What a great weekend. We look forward to it again next year.
But what you were talking
Yeah, what
about.
I was talking about was Jon Favreau's Twitter.
Yeah.
He's twittering from the set of Iron Man 2, which just started shooting like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. And I'll put that on the screen here. It's John_Favreau. Twitter, blah, 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 whatever. I'm following it now. Kind of cool. Every once in a while, you get some cool little tidbits about Iron Man 2. I'm sure he's going to be updating with set pics and that kind of thing. And then the other one that I want to show you is, I'm trying to pronounce this correctly, Maria Lascala. This is somebody on the set of Stallone's Expendables, and she's updating with pictures from the set and like cool little tidbits and stuff. So if you're interested in either of those films, like you probably are, check out these Twitters and,
yeah, and there are so many celebrities
There's a lot.
on Twitter. It's really kind of cool. Kevin Rose has that new thing. It's like wefollow.com, which is, this big...
networking.
Yeah, networking
kind of
sort of thing.
Yeah. Very cool, very cool. Also, you can contact us at contact@themovieguyspodcast.com or any of our names followed by the @symbol, themovieguyspodcast.com. If you want to send us like threatening emails or complimentary emails, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and you can also always get on the forums.
Yeah. A lot of people, we noticed a lot of people view a lot of the threads, but not a lot of people talk back. It's kind of a core group.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of the core group. They're all really nice and friendly. And if they're mean to you, we're like the admins.
We're
so
the
we
moderators.
can just ban them. That's what I'm thinking of. Moderators.
Yeah.
Bring down the ban hammer.
See, now we get to have that false sense of power and importance. Like
I wish I had some
Seth Rogen's
nunchucks.
character.
I have some digital nunchucks.
Do you?
And I
So you can
apply
nunchuck
them
people?
yes, to anybody who's being a jerk on the forums.
Good.
That's right.
Good. So, I would like to recommend a film this week that would be highly recommended, but because I'm so self-reserved, I'm going to let you do it first.
Really? Okay. My highly recommended film for the week is a film with Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt. Right there, 12 Monkeys. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend checking this out. It's Brad Pitt crazy, pre-Fight Club crazy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's a really cool kind of time travel, social commentary, a lot of interesting depth here, and it's just it's kind of hard to follow. I've noticed for some people the first time you see it, and it was a little bit for me, but, watch it a couple times and enjoy it. Put it in your Netflix queue, whatever. Go buy it at Walmart for $10.
I actually haven't seen this movie, but it's on my Netflix queue. I plan on checking it out
Cool
soon,
film. Check out that.
All right. I am going to recommend a film called Special, starring Mike Rappaport. It's a kind of an indie film that was made a couple years back and recently came to DVD. Shockingly enough, it's kind of like a Observe and Report. It's this guy who actually believes he is worth nothing, and then he gets these... He tests for an antidepressant, and it totally whacks him out, and he believes he has superpowers and can levitate and go through walls and fly and stuff. And it's actually really funny. Very interesting how they do all of those things, especially on a low budget. I would recommend checking that out for sure.
That one's in my Netflix queue.
Oh, good.
We're like sharing our queue stuff together. It's so cool.
Taking each other's recommendations, as I hope you take the recommendations
I hope you do.
as well.
And you then get on the forums and tell us that
our opinions aren't
right.
worth a damn.
Or that, which is also possible. Next week, State of Play, I believe, comes out next week. Crank 2 and 17 again, I believe, are next week.
Yes.
You and your Zac Efron crush. Woo! Gosh dang it anyway. How many times can they make that movie? Are you kidding me?
It's true.
They have made that movie, the whole, like, going back and doing it over again. Although, see, to me, the whole, like, him hanging out with his daughter is creepy.
Dude.
I keep waiting for him to kiss her. They're just like, he's just like, it's okay. He has his arm around her, and I'm like, creepy. That's your daughter, dude.
Well, what's wrong with being friends? I don't get it. Just because you're like, oh, there's a guy, his dad and his daughter sitting there. Matt's like, oh, they're gonna get it on. Woo!
But
He's
he's
like,
the
geez,
same
Matt, why
age
the
as
hell would
her.
you? Why would the hell would you think that?
Because they're the same age.
So
And it's
a
Zac
guy and a
Efron.
girl that are the same age are probably gonna bone if they're ever sitting by each other.
Absolutely. He's comforting her and like trying to help her through. Like,
you've never comforted a female friend, giving advice and talking with them, having conversations with them?
I definitely have.
Or
But-
every time you see a girl, it's like, hey,
No, but I mean, it just seems kind of creepy to me.
Well, that's unfortunate.
I guess. Next week we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. I mean, honestly, like, how can I put this? If I was a girl and my dad...
Stop right there, I like it.
If I was a girl and my dad went back to my age and he looked like Zac Efron, I'd pull a few strings. You know what I mean?
Nope.
You have to look at the ups and downs, right? I mean, it would be like, okay, your mom is, say, Natalie Portman, but she's like 40 years older than you. Well, she was 30 years older than you. Now she goes back and she looks like Natalie Portman and is your age.
That's why it's creepy, because you wouldn't know it's your mom. You'd be like, hey.
Would you care?
If I knew, yeah, I'd care.
No, wait,
If I didn't know.
Listen to this, though.
Of course I wouldn't.
Back to the Future.
A creepy scene.
It's not creepy,
scene,
it's
uncomfortable.
funny. It's funny. Don't you think that's funny? Am I the only one that thinks that's funny? Hey, Calvin.
Help us out here.
You know what I mean?
Creepy.
Like that's
uncomfortable creepy scene. Like, dude, not cool.
It's funny.
Your mom's hot. That's not cool.
Dude.
All right, we talked about this long enough. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens next week.
I'm really excited for that movie. Matt wanted to dismiss it like we dismissed Hannah Montana movie.
Scott's like, no, what?
I was like, Zac Efron from Firefly? Are you kidding me? Oh, okay.
You have been watching the Movie Guys podcast.
And don't forget to rate and subscribe on
iTunes. And Zoom.
Episode 57. I am not a Frankenstein. I'm a Frankenstein. Frankenstein. I'm Scott.
I'm Matt.
And remember, kids.
Oh, nothing makes me sadder than the agent lost his bladder in the airplane.
Well, if he just never existed, I would have avoided a massive heap of trouble.
My mom calls condoms raincoats.
For my 18th, for Christmas presents, my mom gave me like a female condom kit. Like it came with like one of those dams and like instructions on like how to use it and everything. It was so, I'm like, what the hell?
Christmas.
It makes me think of those things that when you go to the dentist and when they're doing their cavities and they stretch them out across. That's what they look like. They're the exact same thing and you're just supposed to like